What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be cooking up one of my personal favorite barbecue items, pork spare ribs. So right here we have got this lovely package of St. Louis cut spare ribs. Just got this from my local grocery store. I'm going to go ahead and flip these over, open them up. I go across the bones like that because I'm going to take that membrane off anyway, so I'm not really worried too much about scoring into anything. And I tried to get the most square rack that I could find because these, it doesn't seem like there's any small bones anywhere. Looking pretty good. Gonna trim up this flat meat a little bit, but for the most part, other than this and the membrane, all of the butchery is done for us. So just gonna start trimming this up. That's just gonna burn up in the cook and not be too good anyway, but it does make really good sausage meat, so you definitely don't want to throw it away. Just take that, put it in the freezer, save it for when you're gonna make sausage or something like that. And now, get to work on this membrane. I'm gonna take my towel here and kind of dry this off a little bit. Make it a little easier. Oh, it does look like I have a little bone shard here, so I'm just gonna trim that off. It gives me a weird corner, but you don't want that little piece of bone when you're trying to take a bite. Might be a little on the dangerous side. And I don't know about you, but I don't like my barbecue to be too dangerous. I like it to be a little more enjoyable. So I'm gonna get underneath that membrane there with my knife, and then just gonna take my towel and pull straight. Now, didn't get quite all of it off. You can kind of go through if you want, if you don't get it in one go. But I'm not super worried about making it perfect. This isn't a competition or anything. I'm just making a rack of ribs for me and my daughter on a Saturday afternoon. So, not perfect, no problem. When it comes to seasoning ribs, you can pretty much take any route you want. You can use any store-bought rub you want. You can make your own rub. You can go just salt and pepper. One of the great things about ribs is the flavor profile. You can kind of make it whatever you want. But like I said while I was cleaning them up, because this is just a Saturday afternoon cook for me and a toddler, I don't want to go too crazy, and I'm just going to go straight salt and pepper today. So I've got my shaker here with just a 1 part salt to 2 part pepper. With beef, sometimes I'll do equal parts, but with a pork rib, because it's a thinner cut of meat, I don't want to go too crazy on the salt. It can be pretty easy. And see, this is why you got to pay more attention than I do when you're trimming. Found another little bone shard. All right. And now we are ready to season. So 1 part salt, 2 parts pepper. You can use a binder if you like. I personally do use binders sometimes, but with a simple rub like salt and pepper, the salt is going to dissolve into the meat and draw a lot of moisture out, which is then going to make the pepper stick anyway. So it's up to you. I think for a long time for me, the binders were more of a mental thing. I don't notice too much of a difference anymore. But do whatever you like when it comes to that. And then get the top side here. All right, yeah, that is looking all right to me. Super simple. I'm just gonna let this sit here on the counter and go and get the pit fired up. So the pit's holding steady right at 250 degrees now. I've got these guys on thicker side towards the firebox. So I'm just gonna close it up, let this smoker do its thing. I'm gonna check on them in about an hour. And it's been about an hour now. We can see we're starting to get some good color. That seasoning's definitely sticking. So I'm just gonna give it a quick spritz with some apple cider vinegar and water, just to keep anything from burning up, getting too hot. And then I'm gonna do this about every hour until we decide it's time to wrap them up. So these ribs have been going about 2.5 hours now. Rub stuck real nice. I'm pretty happy with this color. Fat's starting to render very nicely. So I think it's about time we take these inside and get them wrapped up. All right, so I've just got a length of foil right here. I'm gonna give these guys one more spritz on the top, just to keep a little bit of moisture in there, and then flip them over to the bone side, and one more spritz too. I'm just gonna pick off some of these kind of more black bits here. And then everything else is looking good, so I'm just gonna wrap these guys up tight. Fold over. Fold over. And I'm only using one layer of foil because I've got some pretty heavy duty foil. If you're using a thinner foil, I would double wrap because the bones in these areas could poke through, but if you got a pretty thick foil, you're probably gonna be just fine. So we're gonna put these meat side down right back on the pit and let them rock for about 1.5 hours. So we've been rolling now with these ribs on here wrapped up for about 1.5 hours, so we're at 4 hours total. So I'm gonna open up the pit, unwrap them a little bit, and take a look and see how we're doing. All right, and yeah, those are looking done to me. You can see we've got some of the bones breaking through the back right there, some good pullback all the way around. I think it is time to pull these off. We're gonna get them sauced up and glaze them. All right, I got them unwrapped here on the counter, and these things are already beautiful. Honestly, you could eat that right there. Let's give you a look here. Oh yeah, great color, super tender, good fat render. But I happen to like some sauce on my ribs, so we're gonna throw some sauce on them and throw them back on the pit for about 20 minutes or so just to get that sauce to tack up a little bit. So right here I've just got some H-E-B brand Texas barbecue sauce, because H-E-B is the best and everything they do is amazing, and if you don't live in Texas, you are missing out. Going to, ow, that's hot. Flip those guys over and take my mop here and just blot, blot, blot. And once again, you flip, and same treatment, just get some of that beautiful sauce. I'm not going too heavy, I don't want a crazy sheen or anything, again, it's not competition. I'm just going to clean my so get that on there real nice. All right, and like I said, hell, you could eat these as they are now, but I'm gonna throw them back on the pit, like I said, about 20 minutes, and let this sauce tack up a little bit before we dig in. So I pulled these guys off the smoker about 20 minutes ago or so, just letting them rest for a little bit. I think it's time to slice them up. I like to flip mine over to slice. I think it's easier, but you can do whatever you want to do. And those, I got something on upside down. There we go. But those are looking good to me. All right, and I think now it's time to get a taste. All right, so I'm gonna grab me one of these middle guys here, and just look at that. Nice smoke ring, good moisture, fat rendered. Let's see how they taste. And that's the sign of a perfectly cooked rib right there. If you look at that, pulls right off the bone, comes off clean, but it's not falling apart, not completely falling off. And man, that is some good flavor too. You can make a really good product with just salt, pepper, some good smoke, and obviously some little bit of that barbecue sauce too. Doesn't hurt. But so that's gonna be all for today. And that is how I smoke pork spare ribs, just on a regular day. I'll probably do some different recipes, a little more involved flavor profiles in some other videos, but that is my basic go-to simple pork spare ribs. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.